Hello everyone and welcome to this video going over patch 4.2.0, or better known as 420. Yeah boy. Anyways, before getting into it, I quickly want to remind you to give the video a like if you enjoy it and subscribe for more Dead by Daylight content. So now, what does this new patch brings us? Well, of course, the big thing everybody is excited for is the new killer, the Blight, and the new survivor, Felix Richter. As with all chapters, everybody wants to know about the killer first, so that's what I'm going to talk about. The Blight's power is called Blighted Corruption. It makes him start with 5 rush tokens. Pressing the power button will consume 1 rush token and start a rush. During the rush, the Blight moves forward rapidly and has limited turning. His rush is kind of like a combination of Legion's Feral Frenzy and Billy's Chainsaw, with regards to how you maneuver it. Be aware that the Blight cannot deal damage during his first rush. Now, if the Blight runs into a wall or object, he slams into it and is given the option to perform a lethal rush by pressing the power button again. If the Blight waits too long to activate lethal rush, runs out of rush charges, or does not run into any objects, he will have a short fatigue before he can move again. When the Blight activates a lethal rush, he will be able to rush forward rapidly again, but this time he can press M1 during the lethal rush to deal damage to any survivors in his path. If the Blight runs into another object during a lethal rush, he can choose to do another lethal rush, for a total of up to 4 additional times, or however many tokens he has left. When the Blight's rush ends, he cannot use his power again until it fully recharges, regardless of how many tokens he has. One last thing I want to mention about the Blight's power is that lethal rush attacks do not count as basic attacks. So for any perks that trigger off a basic attack, it won't work with the lethal rush. Additionally, if the survivor has the exposed status effect on them and you hit them with a lethal rush attack, they will just be injured one state. They will not be put into the dying state, because exposed only works on basic attacks. So there you have it. His power is super simple, and, everyone's referring to him as the pinball killer, because that's what he is. He's like the pinball in a pinball machine. He just bounces from wall to wall, side to side, and that's all he can do. The next thing you're probably wondering about is his 3 unique perks, which are Dragon's Grip, Hex Blood Favor, and Hex Undying. So I'll go over those quickly now. Dragon's Grip says after kicking a generator, for the next 30 seconds, the first survivor that interacts with it will scream, revealing their location for 4 seconds, and becomes afflicted with the exposed status effect for 60 seconds. Dragon's Grip has a cooldown of 120, 100, or 80 seconds. Hex Blood Favor says when a survivor is hit, pellets within 16 meters of your location are held in place by the entity for 15 seconds. These pellets cannot be pulled down, and Hex Blood Favor has a cooldown of 60, 50, or 40 seconds. And finally, Hex Undying. When Hex Undying is active, survivors within 2 meters of any totem have their aura revealed for 4, 5, or 6 seconds. When another Hex totem is cleansed, that Hex transfers to an available dull totem, losing any tokens in the process, basically allowing Hex totems to keep being revived until there are no totems left to use. Let me know what you think of the Blight's power and perks below, and if you have any cool perk builds with these brand new perks or cool ideas for how to play the Blight. Now onto the new survivor, Felix Richter. His 3 unique perks are Visionary, Desperate Measures, and Built to Last. Now, I have a video that explains everything in detail for Felix Richter already, so I'm just going to link that here in the top right corner for you. But, just to give you a quick summary, Visionary allows you to see generator auras. Desperate Measures allows you to heal or unhook survivors faster depending on how many people are injured, hooked, or dying in the match. And Built to Last basically lets you refill charges on a depleted item. Now, a new killer and new survivor is not the only things we got in this patch. We also got several new offerings, which this is the first time in a while we got an actual new offering. So let's take a look at everything we have here. So there's one rare offering called the Sacrificial Ward that calls upon the entity to reject all offerings that alter the chance of being sent to a specific realm. This can only be cancelled if 4 identical realm offerings are played. So using this, you can prevent killers that are trying to do something specific from doing it. For example, the super stealthy Myers with the scratched mirror, they often use offerings for Larry's Memorial Institute or the game, and even Hawkins Laboratory, because all those indoor maps are great for a sneaky Myers. So using this ward would basically get rid of all their chances of even doing what they want, which is kind of toxic. But also, killers can prevent survivors from going to specific maps as well. Now, the rest of the offerings are all common offerings. We have the Annotated Blueprint, which tremendously increases the chances of spawning the hatch in the Killer Shack if the map has a Killer Shack. Keyword: if the map has a Killer Shack there are some maps like Haddonfield that do not have a Killer Shack, so if you use this offering and get Haddonfield, it's totally wasted. Next we have Bloodied Blueprint, which reveals the aura of the basement hooks to you for 20 seconds at the start of the trial. Tremendously increases the chances of spawning the basement in the Killer Shack if the map has a Killer Shack. Then we have the Torn Blueprint that reveals the aura of basement hooks for 20 seconds at the start of the trial. Tremendously increases the chances of spawning the basement in the main building if the map has a main building. Again, there are some maps that do not have a main building, such as the Wrecker's Yard map. It only has a Killer Shack and no main building. So this can also be potentially wasted if you get a bad map. And then we have Vigo's Blueprint, which tremendously increases the chance of spawning the hatch in the main building if the map has a main building. So, these have their uses as well. With the basement offerings, killers can try and utilize the basement build, or if Survivor, you would rather have the basement in Killer Shack or main building, you can use that as well to try and put the odds in your favor for the trial. As for the hatch offerings, these are kind of in an interesting place because you will know where the hatch spawns kind of if you use them. However, the killer or survivor will also know because everybody can see these offerings being played. I wonder if things would be a bit more spicy if these offerings were hidden offerings instead of just shown to everyone at the start of the match. And all of these offerings are for both killers and survivors, so everyone has free use of them. After that, we have the graphic updates that happen in this patch. So we got a huge visual updates for generators, pallets, lockers, and chests, including new animations when interacting with some of these objects. And pallets, they disappear now, so you can't see the broken pallets anymore, which is kind of a bummer, but oh well. But what saw the biggest changes was Springwood and the Yamaka Estate, because they did a full visual update on these, but they also added breakable walls to them. And for Springwood, they did update all the bottom preschool maps, versions 1 through 5, so all of them will be the same. So in the Yamaka's Estate, I noticed there's about 3 breakable walls in the main building that have been added, and some of these breakable walls you might not want to break as killer because it actually traps survivors in a pretty good area for you. In the bottom preschool map, there is 1 breakable wall in the bottom preschool. However, I did not go through all the variations, so it's possible that there are certain variations that have more than 1 breakable wall in the preschool building. And I also found several breakable walls in the other houses. It seems like every house has at least 1 breakable wall now, which means killers will want to go to these first to either break them or completely ignore them because it traps survivors for them, making them easier to catch. So be aware of these new breakable walls because it will change up your running paths as survivor and as killer. After these visual updates, we also have an update to aiming when using the flashlight. They said that previously the flashlight would aim up and to the right of the center of the screen, but now they updated the animation so the flashlight is going to aim squarely towards the center of your screen. So you won't have to, I guess, hold it in the middle of your screen anymore to keep the flashlight steady. So it might take some getting used to aim the new flashlight. Other than that, we have several bug fixes going through. So I will post a link to the patch notes if you want to take an in-depth look at all of this. And you can go to your specific platform that you play on the patch notes page to see what bugs were fixed for you. So that is everything that was adjusted and changed in patch 4.2.0, aka 420, the best patch that there will ever be. So I hope this video has helped you out in understanding all the changes that came through to Dead by Daylight, what's new, and what is no longer here. Slightly gonna miss the old generators, because now we have to stare at these ugly ones, but hey, at least the animations are way cooler now, right? Anyways, remember to leave a like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe for more Dead by Daylight content. If you want to support the channel even more, then hit that join button. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, good luck out there in the fog, and see you next time.